obviously think of Hollywood. That's a lot of you. Well, California has a lot of different things for people if you don't like Hollywood or crowded areas like that, which Hollywood is part of my presentation, but it's not the only thing. And it's also, a lot of people, you live in Florida, so you don't want to be in the hot weather, so you go away places to get into cooler. Well, California, it's not always hot, and it's colder up north. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about why you should visit California. California, in Northern California, there's things like the redwood forest, which they have some of the world's tallest trees and some of the thickest trees. As you can see, I'm sitting inside of one of them in the picture. And they have another forest called the Muirwoods, which is kind of like the redwood forest, but it's a little bit different with the ways that the trees are. And California also has something called the Death Valley, which is one of the second hottest places in America. But some people may not like nature stuff and like trees, but some people do, so this would be something for those. Then when you go into the city, you take the Golden Gate Bridge, which is in that picture, to go over to San Francisco. In San Francisco, there's different things, like you see all the buildings are super close together and right on top of each other, which can make some people uncomfortable, and especially with the ways that the roads are in San Francisco. They're very narrow and steep, so when you're going up or going down, some people might not be comfortable driving them. But there's different things, and some people, do any of you know why it's loud and noisy on Pier 39? Well, on Pier 39, there's a whole bunch of sea lions that gather, and they just sit there all day on all the little docks, and they make a whole bunch of noise. But this all started back in 1989 when an earthquake happened. They all came here and gathered because people feed them, and it's become a huge tourist attraction. So has other things, like the Joan Rockets is a big tourist attraction because we don't have those around here. They're kind of like a steak and shake, but it's better for you. It's not as greasy. Another thing that we don't have that's known for over there is the In-N-Out burger, which, if you haven't been to one, I recommend that you really go because, to me, they're one of the best things. And then, in San Francisco, as I was saying, with the roads being steep, this is the Crooked Street, and it's the world's most crooked street. It takes about an hour and a half to get down, and it's very frustrating, but it's such a beautiful sight, and you get to see like all the different buildings going down it. But you could also walk up it, which doesn't take an hour and a half because you don't have to turn and back up and fix yourself every other minute. And when you're over there, you get down to the bottom and you look across the lake and you see this thing out in the middle, just in the middle of me and my friend, and that is Alcatraz, which was a prison, but it hasn't been in use in a long time and isn't going to be. But it's called The Rock, and it's known to be haunted. When you go out there, you can pay and you can go and you can look through it, which we tried to do, but you have to do it like months in advance. But you could also, if you do 6 hours of community service and you pay some money, you can stay the night in the prison. Which some people would say, like, why would you want to stay a night in the prison? But for the people who believe in ghosts and believe in all that kind of stuff, it's a pretty cool experience, and you get to like realize what it's like to be in a haunted prison. One thing that I thought was one of the coolest experiences that I've ever done was going to the Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. And in it, it ranges from like people such as Leonardo DiCaprio, and they look so real. And then it goes to others like Al Capone, because you are next to Alcatraz. And they have Obama, and what I've been told is like the best selfie is with the Queen of England, because she looks so real. And I'd have to say that I left my heart in San Francisco because it was probably my best part about California. But then there's other more crowded areas such as Los Angeles. In LA, there's a whole bunch of different things to do, which, like Hollywood, I was saying at the beginning. And Hollywood is such an amazing thing, I think, because it's like a giant tourist attraction. And there's so many different things that you can do, like visit the Hollywood sign. And if you're a cheerleader, you like to do things like my friend does and do handstands in front of the Hollywood sign. And then there's also things like the Hollywood Walk of Fame, and you see all the stars and all the strange street performers that want you to take pictures with them. And then there's the TLC's Chinese Theater, which TLC purchased in 2013, and a bunch of famous stars, they go there to get their handprints done in front of the Chinese Theater, and the day that I took that, Will Ferrell was there to get his handprint done, so there was a bunch of people there that day to come see him. But other than Hollywood, there's things like Venice Beach and Santa Monica Beach. And some of you may know Venice Beach as Muscle Beach, because if you like to work out, that's one of the things that probably a lot of people like to do, or would like to see, is Venice Beach, because Arnold Schwarzenegger is known for showing up there randomly. And then at the top, there's Santa Monica Beach, and on their pier is Pacific Park. So it's like they have their own little theme park on their beach. But there's other things to see, like you can go up to the observatory and you can see Hollywood at night. And when you go down from the observatory, one of the streets kind of near there is Rodeo Drive, which a lot of people know, but some people don't, is the most expensive street in the world. And one of them, and you can buy socks that are like $200, which is crazy, so we didn't buy anything from Rodeo Drive. Well, then you can go to other things like the Grove, and they have a whole bunch of different things at the Grove, and the Grove is basically just a fountain. But there's things like the Teen Choice Awards was there the night before I was there, and had Josh from Drake and Josh there. And so there's a whole bunch of little kids there wandering around, and everyone was wanting to get their picture with him. So it was really cool. But you see, at night, the fountain lights up, and you have the water that shoots up to the music playing. So I think that California has a little something for everyone, whether you like the hot or you like the cold, or if you like the woods, or if you like the main tourist attractions like going to the Hollywood sign. So I think that you should take some time and go visit California.